Oh, I almost fell in. So today we're gonna do a Q&A. So today I'm gonna answer your questions you guys sent over on Instagram, and let's get into that. All right, so go get into these questions. All right, the first question comes from Maxim Lali. How do your turtles get their calcium? So different turtles have different calcium needs. So for things like tortoises and a lot of the more terrestrial turtles and tortoises, you know, they're going to be getting it through being out in the natural sunlight. You can also feed things like collard greens. You can offer cuttle bones, and I can also give them, sometimes I use the freeze-dried krill for pretty much everything. Sometimes I'll sprinkle a little bit of the freeze-dried krill in with like the redfoot diet, and you know, also things like Missouri. So there's a lot of different ways to get calcium for those guys. And then for aquatic turtles, like the cooters and stuff, you know, same kind of thing. They'll get some of the freeze-dried krill. And then with things like map turtles and musk turtles, they're going to be eating little snails and clams. And there's a lot of calcium in those little shells. So, you know, that's a good source for them. And same with the snapping turtles as well. So, you know, I just try to think in terms of what's the most likely that particular species is going to come across in the wild, and that's just kind of like what I like to try and go for. All right, this one's from the homie Varshal. What's the best way to make driftwood collected from the wild safe for turtles? So first off, I'm very picky about where I get my driftwood from. My favorite place to get driftwood is going to be from fast-flowing rivers and streams, because I like the way the wood gets kind of rolled through the stream. The current is going to be banging it up against rocks and sand and gravel. It's really going to like make it nice and smooth. What I like to do is I like to just put it out in the driveway or somewhere where it's just going to be in a lot of sun for a while, get it really dried out, and then if you want, you can also boil it. If you Google, I think, how to prepare driftwood for an aquarium, they'll recommend boiling it. So that is an option that you can pursue as well. So hopefully that helps you out with your driftwood. Next one is from Sumi Aki Morita. Any tip for turtle safe pest control for my house? We get ants and spiders and roaches with like a cool little roach emoji on there. All right, so years ago, I actually did about a year and a half of pest control, and I thought that I was going to be catching like snakes and reptiles, and that wasn't what I ended up doing. I pretty much was just killing ants and roaches and stuff like that. The problem is that stuff's all chemicals. Everything on a pest control truck is poison, and poison kills things, and it's definitely, you know, even applied to like the legal parameters, that stuff's still poison. It's not good for you to breathe it in. It's not good for you to come into contact with. Me personally, I don't use any pest control products on my house or my yard. So I try to think in terms of what's natural pest control. So you want to do things like make sure you don't leave food sitting out overnight. You want to make sure that, you know, your house is clean. All your doors are well sealed. All your windows are well sealed, have screens or seals on them. Then you want to start looking at when are you seeing most of your pests? You know, things like ants, you're going to see more when it rains. If you get your gutters cleaned, you know, you might see roaches for a few days, because there's a place where your gutter meets the roof of your house, and that's a place for air to get in there so that there's a little bit of air circulation in your attic. Well, when you pull all those leaves and stuff out of your gutters, you just took out the natural habitat for like roaches and a lot of bugs. So you might start seeing them pop up in your house because they came in through your attic. So, I mean, me personally, I mean, not that my house is full of bugs, but it doesn't really like bother me to see that stuff occasionally, because I live in the South, and that's just part of, you know, living here, is that there's a lot of bugs. But you do want to be clean, you do want to be safe. Spiders, I mean, if you're seeing spiders, that just means that, you know, you probably have some other things in your house. So I mean, the best thing I can recommend if you want to avoid using chemical pest control is just stay clean, stay on top of it, be vigilant, and that's kind of the best thing I can recommend. So, I hope that's a good answer for you, man. Really want to give the aquascape pond some shine. All right, so this next question comes from R Bartlett _ my opinions on the Indian spotted turtle. Opinions. Well, you know, opinions are like, you know, what's the saying? I like the Indian spotted pond turtles. I think they're really fascinating. I like that they have like a nice thick shell with those keels on them. The pattern on them is amazing. I love that they're a black turtle with bright yellow, white, or cream colored spots. The other neat thing about them is that they can actually handle some cooler temperatures because they live in some pretty cool flowing streams where they're from. So I think they're a really interesting turtle. I don't have any. Because of where I live, I probably won't ever have any, but I do like to, when I go down south to Florida and visit people like Fred and Kenan, it's cool to be able to see the ones that they have, and they're just beautiful, amazing turtles. I like them, and you should like them too. All right, this one is from Colonia Croatica. I'm guessing you're from Croatia, which is tight, and you're into turtles. Give this guy a follow. All right, what are my thoughts on keeping adult AST and CST alligator snapping turtles and common snapping turtles in the same pond? I don't personally recommend it unless you have a very big pond and the common snapping turtles have a place to get away from the alligator snapping turtles. My buddy Fred has been able to pull this off in his setup that originally had about an 11 or 12 foot saltwater crocodile in with an alligator snapping turtle, in with some of the biggest Florida snapping turtles I've ever seen. Now, it worked out well for him, and you know, he produces hybrid snapping turtles, but I've also read in multiple books and texts that, you know, alligator snapping turtles will kill a common snapping turtle. I've seen it in the wild. I've seen where a common snapping turtle got completely ripped in half by an alligator snapping turtle. And just recently, one of my snapping turtles, a young Florida, actually got out of one of the pens because I left a net hanging over the wall. It climbed up the net and it got down here into the aquascape pond, and it must have got into it with Lloyd Christmas, one of my juvenile alligator snappers. This small Florida and this similar sized alligator snapper, they must have got into something over food, and in probably 2 bites, the alligator snapper was able to remove part of the foot of the Florida snapping turtle and part of the lower jaw. So if those two, you know, butt heads, and it just doesn't go well. And it doesn't go well for either one, and I would rather not get, you know, have the possibility of that. So I try to keep them separate. You know, that's my opinion on that, man. Dan the Turtle Man. You guys follow Dan. Dan's the best. I love that guy. Hopefully I'll be at Dan's house very soon. How can you effectively create a thermal gradient for your turtles during the fall season? The way I like to do this, whether it's aquatic turtles, whether it's terrestrial turtles, I like to use this stuff, the stuff that falls from the trees, man. So every season, you know, here we have deciduous trees, and deciduous trees shed their leaves every fall season. And in the wild, they would pile up on the forest floor, and box turtles would go underneath there and create a form and a deep burrow underneath all those leaves, and that would insulate them during the winter season. And likewise, the same thing happens in ponds. The leaves will fall and then sink down to the bottom and create a layer on the bottom of leaf matter. And there's plenty of videos of like wood turtles and different types of turtles utilizing that as basically like a winter blanket. So I do the same thing with my ponds. I allow that leaf litter to build up, and the turtles actually, you're able to use that to kind of stay a little bit warmer through the winter. And it even worked out that a pink-bellied side neck made it through a Georgia winter because of that leaf layer. I wouldn't recommend that. I didn't do that on purpose, but you know, it worked out. Jack's World of Wildlife. This is another guy with a YouTube channel. Follow Jack. I think he even has a video getting bitten by a brown recluse, which is super gnarly. Maybe, I don't know. I wouldn't get bit by a spider, so that's pretty tight. Which turtles seem to enjoy fall temperatures the most? As far as native turtles go, I think they really all enjoy it. There's a kind of an equinox that happens in spring and fall. So you have like kind of April, May is a really good season, and then September, October is about the same, and they're just at kind of opposite ends of the year. So your temperatures are going to be about the same. With the fall though, everything is kind of in this last burst, trying to get a little bit of mating done, get a little bit of eating done, all before winter. So fall is really good. You'll also have a bit more chance to see some hatchlings. So I would say pretty much all the native turtles just really go crazy during the fall, and it's just a really good time. And then if you have the good fortune, which I have not had lately, of it not raining and it getting a little bit dry and the water levels come down and the water gets a little bit more clear. It's really good for snorkeling if you don't mind being a little bit on the cold side. All right, Rich scene. How late in the year do I keep my hatchlings and yearlings out? So for the most part, unless it just hatched, like within the last couple months, I just leave it all out. So those hatchling cooters are gonna stay out. Hatchling musk turtles that I've had for almost a year, they'll all just stay out. So they overwinter just fine. The water just needs to be moving. They need to have like some underwater structure to kind of hang on to, but otherwise, even if the surface freezes over, they're just fine. Because even if the surface freezes, as long as the water's not frozen solid, that temperature they're at is going to be above freezing, and they're just going to slow their heartbeat down and not really need to move or get oxygen. And there should be enough oxygen in the water that they can actually absorb it through some of the lining of the throat and the cloaca. So yeah, that was it. Those are some good questions. Hope you guys enjoyed this Q&A. I enjoy doing them. You guys always have super rad questions. Glad I could share that with you. So thank you guys. Leave a like, drop a comment. Tell me something cool. Always like reading the comments. You guys are the best. See you guys next time. Take care. Peace.